they start the meeting now, actually, because I just read.
That they donate the treatment, right, and their time.
Yes.
I think it would be great to document that, like, that's not a super expensive service, but it's also not a super cheap service, and it can be quite expensive for really big trees, which some of those are.
Yeah.
And could we then use it for match if we do go after grants to tree invasives? If there are grants that have match requirements, that's in kind, right?
Can you use the fact that someone else donated to you and use that as the town's match?
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
That's genius.
yeah, in-kind donations, volunteer hours, all of that counts as
Yeah.
match on federal grants.
Interesting. That's, yeah, I'll ask. I know,
Just can't be other federal dollars.
okay. Yeah, I don't know of anywhere that was written down from 2 years ago. But there was some press coverage 2 years ago. Okay. What? Any other comments on that? So no John, but we do have quorum. So
Let's vote.
yeah.
Upcoming event.
So this is our call to order.
You can call the order without a quorum, you just can't vote.
Fair enough. So would you like to do the minutes?
Yes. Any corrections? They look right to me.
I really respect your approval. I think it's great.
They're approved.
We can vote.
All in favor?
I really need to get this process down.
There's lots of rules book, I noticed. I guess can we just talk about how are there this many?
Yeah.
Rules.
Yeah, it's
Well, if you're running parliament in England, you probably need all of them.
that's, is that where they came from?
Yeah.
Roberts.
Mhm.
Okay, who motioned and
I
seconded?
have a motion, can.
All in
All
favor?
Aye.
All right, oh, okay, so let's go John, so we can move on to the. You give me a hard time for Zoom.
Upcoming events.
I always struggle with Zoom. I think that it is because I have a UVM laptop and it's a Teams campus, but it like almost never works as well for me.
Yeah. Okay, so. All right, so the next item is to, I mean, really the main thing I think that we want to come away from today with is how are you going to use your time over the next couple months to either kind of wrap up this process that you've been talking about or transition into kind of the next big conversation. And you've done a number of really helpful exercises for envisioning how this committee can be most efficient. And that partially led to the approval of that governance memo and solidifying how the committee is going to work and what the parameters are, defining in better, more clear terms what roles, et cetera. The other thing that came out of that was the big forest needs assessment exercise. So at the end of last meeting, there was a little bit of confusion from everybody about, well, where does that leave us and where the steps are? And that's what I think the conversation needs to be about today. Drew had looked at some of those forest needs in this effort to think about how those can be met, and created this first work plan document. And the conversation last time, there were just a lot of questions about, would that format be helpful? What are we doing to maximize the use of our time, and what is the direction? So I think, Drew, you can talk about this a little bit, but took some of that feedback. There was a call for an annual calendar, like Gantt chart conversation.
Yeah.
So Drew took a first pass at that. And
Oh, my thing was different.
oh, that is the
That's the PDF.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? I think I
That
just
actually worked for me, 'cause
I just have a different version that I downloaded, I don't know.
okay. I think I
That works.
might have, when I posted this onto the website, I messed up that one. But yes, this is the actual. Okay, so Drew took a first stab at creating a annual strategic, implementation calendar, or you call it the implementation dashboard. So I thought we can start looking at this, and then from here go into the conversation of what do you do with that whole forest needs assessment, and what is the next step that the community feels like it needs before you transition into just kind of the next big project, which is starting to work on planning for the update.
Mhm. I find this really helpful because I think it consolidates a lot of things into a very readable format.
I'm just gonna share this so that hopefully you can see.
And I think like, I know it was my suggestion to do a Gantt chart, but I really liked the cycle that like the month by month cycle, it's just like the bullet list at the bottom. I feel like we could even have like that could get mapped onto meetings easily. So I don't know, I felt like this was very helpful. I had felt overwhelmed by some of the previous tables, and this for me was like, oh yeah, all of these things feel like things that we should be spending our time on, and this I can like clearly imagine how we would spend a year working on these different things. I think some of them are like obviously multi-year, and you could imagine doing like the Gantt chart for like 2027, 2028, 2029, and like it's like, but in general, I felt like this was cool. And yeah, I don't think it really, at first, I don't think it matters that like the goals are different objectives.
So the objectives are from that original exercise, right?
Yeah.
Those were the 5 categories that were identified.
Yeah.
And then Drew, tell us about the actions that you put in. Were these kind of a distillation of what felt like the most important items from those categories?
Yes, and we'd kind of gone through that only in the governance and leadership component, and that sort of brought in the rest of the forest management plan items that we had not discussed, but had come up with the objectives on the left there, just to get a sense of what else we should be looking at and what the timeline might look like. I'm not so certain about the timeline that I have in there for these various different things, but it's the first pass at it, I guess. So
I feel like like when I look at those actions, I'm not like, I don't know if that's our purview, right? Like all of them make sense to me.
yeah, they're a little bit more broad than we've gone into greater detail previously,
yeah.
but it's something that we're trying to simplify. But let's just come up with fewer categories that we could use.
Yeah. And I like that too, because if you're saying, okay, well, great, it's we're using August meeting to take a look at what's happening in ecological monitoring. You can go back to that other list and okay, here are like 5 things that fall into that bucket, and 2 of these aren't applicable right now or aren't happening. One of these could be happening, 2 of these are happening, and turn that into an action item for the meeting to talk about that whole bucket of items.
Yeah, I always wanted it to end up being a work plan, so it was really helpful to me to have like some times on it. I was gonna say, I left, had to leave a half an hour early last time, and you guys were just starting on governance and leadership. I come back, you got the whole thing done for the whole document. But exactly what happened. Nice, but I would probably, and this is just me being me, I would have to go through and convince myself that these are the top 12 or whatever things, and that there's nothing important that to me that's not on there.
Right.
I mean, I'm not the kind of person to come back and say we need to add 18 things to it, but I'd have to convince myself, okay, and underneath, ecological monitoring is these different things that I'm okay as long as we all sort of understand it belong there.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, for monitoring, we could do like the National Park Service page, which is like, you can't monitor everything, so you can pick indicator species and check on how they're doing every August.
Yeah, so, well, I see this more as like,
Talking about it.
yeah, exactly. And checking in on like, what are the monitoring projects that are happening out there? Like, for
Yeah.
example, there's a group that goes out and
The
does the
bottling,
bottlings.
right, and they
What-
could come in and tell us how
Yeah,
it went.
the update on that,
Yeah.
and then you need any support.
Yeah.
And then it's also time where you can say like, oh, there was, back when the plan was written, it was identified that X, Y, and Z were gonna happen, for ecological monitoring. Did they happen? Do they need to happen?
Right.
Should we?
So like,
find
we
a
had a
partner?
deer
Yeah.
wintering area.
Yeah, exactly,
and
that
everything,
kind of
but we
thing.
have not. Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know if you were like, I'm gonna pick 12 because there's 12 meetings, but I like, that like really works well for my brain. I was like, oh, how neat. Okay.
Yeah, the other thing would be just a little bit like, actually, what you guys just had a conversation about was that I am guilty of this. I'm like what's our work plan for the year, you know? And I've always had boards that have work plans for the year. This is how we're staying on task. But then sometimes you get, usually they're like, you know, by the end of the year, it's like April, May, June, and you're looking at going like, why is that on the work plan? I don't even remember that. You know, so it's like if we just come up to the month before, if July, we're sitting here going like, okay, well, in 4 weeks, we're gonna do ecological monitoring. What does that mean? I don't know, let's call the bottling people, and we'll check that box, you know, or is that something more robust? And that might be a matter of working through it for a year. Like, see
Yeah.
what worked and
Right.
what didn't, and what did we miss, and what comes up in between that we don't really have a place for, throw the box for.
Yeah, that's a great point. I like that too, because it can be really tempting to try to have like perfect plan before you do. But,
No.
at some point, yeah, okay.
Jump and give it a shot.
Yeah.
No, this was great to see something like this. Nice job.
And so moving across, I just wanted to be able to reference back to the forest management plan, wherever we got these points from, so that as we update the forest management plan, we can go through and update this whole thing, basically. So it's hopefully designed to be used in perpetuity and with the idea that we will be changing forest management in the future.
Just because I didn't see it there, but I just remember there was one, this is one of my aha moments where it's like, well, it was like public access, and I'm like, well, look, it's open so many hours a day, we're good to go. And I think Kim, you were like, yeah, but is that really, what that means, or is there several steps below that? And I don't see that in here, but that would be like the kind of thing that I would.
Yeah.
Well, I think there was like access recommendations on there somewhere, right, as like an output.
That was in there. I think that was in the bigger list of like items.
Oh, it's way over there, yeah, the blue box, trail
there
side,
it is.
yeah. Yeah, so
And
maybe-
like
so maybe-
public use request is like, some of these make a lot of sense, like that one makes a lot of sense to me, the way you did that. So it's like, yeah, we don't know what meeting or if we're gonna
Right.
get submitted at, like, can we fly the drones or whatever, and,
It'd be interesting, and I admit that's something about that more than I can shoot, but, maybe on the access recommendations or trail signage, like, it does say access. It's like, I was just gonna say maybe flip them, it's more like public access, and trail signage is just a subset of that, but I do see it says access, so take it. Access is bigger than, to me, what the trails or the.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I hear you in that, like, some of that, like. I mean, in some regards, DOFC is working on that because the trail updates, like, ED compliance and.
That'll be our website, right?
Yeah. But I think there's like another. Aspect of it that is like connected to the like. Public identity piece that
Mhm.
Drew has on here, which is like making sure people know, right? Like, I think we've talked a couple times where people didn't know, oh, it's free to walk. there,
Yeah.
like, I don't think
Yes.
people know.
So one thing that I was gonna say is now that we have, like this town working group set up, I think that has created a lot of, it's creating an additional efficiency for the town, where some conversations would come to this space, and take up a lot of time in this space,
Yeah.
when it was like, well, it's really a conversation that needs to happen in the town.
Right, like, we don't have the
Yeah,
ability to
right.
say yes or no.
Right.
And, so we now have an additional venue for some of that stuff. But then also those conversations can identify topics to come back to here. And that's happened a little bit on this issue. So Catamount had put out a couple of sandwich boards, and they say in big letters, pay here and sign in for this. And so immediately started generating questions. Oh, trust free? And
Mhm.
in one of those meetings, I just brought it to everyone and saying, hey, here's an example of this much bigger issue, is that we still have a lot of work to do in this area. And rather than saying, you need 60 cents, you need to, it's something that should work on. It was more of, but this is a combined goal that we have, that we should be collaborating. The signage up there, we should come up with some co-branding. Like, the only sign that exists on the road is on the McCullough's property, opposite side of the road. It says Catamount Outdoor Concept. And they didn't even put up that sign. Something like that. That's what they're trying. So
It might be old.
yeah,
Does it predate?
yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the story is, but we talked for the fact that we really need a big sign that says Catamount Community Forest. Maybe it says
Yeah,
home of the Catamount Outdoor Concept, or something, whatever
yeah.
feels like it does service to both organizations, and we need to have that in large letters, along with, free for all pedestrians, that kind of stuff up front, and just be in better communication on this stuff. So things like that whole sandwich board thing are clearer, and as we all have kind of the same. So some of those conversations, are gonna involve this group, but there's also this additional place where we identify some of these things and figure out which conversations can really be most efficiently, kind of channeled through this other, time that we carved out. So along those lines, I was gonna say, does it feel like, with the whole partner oversight piece, does it feel like having an update from the Family Center every month is something that still feels like that is helpful for the committee? Or given that you have only 90 minutes every month, is that something that could happen once every other month, or at a different cadence?
I
don't know.
100% think it can happen at a different meeting, and I also, like, I'm happy to learn about, like, programs and activities, but, like, I guess, like, I don't know that it's super germane to our work to know, like, the coach training is completed, 26 summer coaches, like, I'm personally excited about that, but I'm not sure that it, like, maybe it falls into the access piece. I think I would almost maybe like once a year want to be like, we served this many like K through 12 people.
Or maybe seasonal.
Yeah,
To do
yeah,
like maybe 3 a year, that makes
Yeah.
sense or something.
Yeah.
and-
like, and could the information be tailored to like, how are we doing on these goals? Because I think like a lot of those goals, like the public access and recreation goals, are fulfilled by Catamount's work, right? Like so many kids go there, so many people recreate there because of the programming that they have, and so like if that stuff were to falter, that would impact that
Mhm.
goal, right? Um. But I guess like, I don't know that we need the level of detail that we're getting on. That's I like hearing it, but I think
Yeah.
I like hearing it because I love the organization.
I wouldn't go much more than every like 3 months of the studies to step, because I would be a little bit concerned that we separate too much, you know, and then, because I think, I think you said, John, you don't just stand here and listen to all of the stuff when we're, navel gazing here on how, on our processes, and he's like, no, I'm fine, and he's like getting work done, so it
Yeah.
was nice to have him
Yeah.
for,
I think like,
Well,
in the room. I think it's really nice to have them in, but yes, I don't.
then there's like sometimes where like I can imagine us inviting them for longer, like
Yeah.
like the trails project, and like I could
Mhm.
imagine having like the voting, like a whole meeting, like the way that you have like partner for people who are like, okay, well, we're gonna like spend a bunch of time talking about where you're at on what level of support you need from us and what we should know about,
Mhm.
right? Or like how does that impact any of the ecological stewardship stuff?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it needs to be monthly.
Yeah, no, that's something that I wanted to ask in this context, because I felt that was a little bit too, just in terms of, a lot of meetings, you don't get to the main discussion
Right.
event until close to 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Basically 50 minutes.
Yeah.
For to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish as a committee. So there might be, and I don't know if they think it's the best use of time for them to necessarily become.
Well, I think both of them.
Yeah, and I think with what you're suggesting, even if the regular update was only once every 3 months or something, they'd still probably these 6 or 7 times a year, because they're something on some of the other
I'm happy to have them on Zoom.
questions. Right.
Yeah.
In season one.
And like it could be like seasonally and ad hoc as things emerge. Like
Right.
maybe there's like a time where they're like, hey, we have to come and give a 5 minute whatever because like something happened with a permit, or like we started work and we want everyone to know about it. It would be weird if they waited 3 months and then told us or something.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I talked to them about it, because, I would love it if one of them was on Zoom for all of our meetings, just because it's such a tight partnership.
Yeah.
I would hate for us to be going too far down some path that they,
Yeah.
because it just becomes now a task that we have to make sure we told them. As
Right,
opposed
yeah.
to them being here, but I don't think we need to take 15 minutes of the agenda.
I guess that's the other approach would be to say, do you want to come and give a quick update, but where the information that we're looking for is, and like tailor it a little bit more?
Mhm.
Just run it by John, see what he says.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk to them and say, came up in this context, and yeah, that's for sure. It's reasonable. And the other reason I was just raising that question is because partner oversight, it could free up time for bringing in other people to talk about different subjects. Or just free up time for conversation.
I mean, there's nothing we do that's not going to impact that. I'd be very surprised if they said, no, we'll be showing up once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Is there any reason to have a meeting of 1 year where we're actually there? Or is that-
In the new building.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a silly question. I think, with the working group, we initially went over there a couple times because we thought it'd be great to have that exchange. Eric and I were our coach. Yeah, that's right. He was we hung out in Warmington, or we hung out at the
Stairs, the social, yeah.
But
Yeah.
right now, the town facilities are more suited to we have a screen, we can share, we can coordinate, it's just easier to do that because we have infrastructure. I would see that changing with the building, but, having said that, it could be nice to do once a year, to go up there.
Over a walk.
Yeah. It's not like you don't have a lot of things to talk about.
Would go early. This is great. So I'm just gonna, ask for a month to like do my own little, you know?
Yeah, so I guess my question would be, what is the next step with this? And I think maybe everybody picks it apart a little bit and comes
Yeah.
back with the suggestions or
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
adaptations that need to be made.
And since we don't have to like stop, this is absolutely, I think, the right end game when looking at this kind of thing. And so I'm very happy with that. And I think that clears up a lot of things. And, you know, I know summer's not a good time for a lot of people to get in their desk reading documents. But,
Yeah.
you know, we could even give ourselves until, but like the September meeting, we're gonna,
Yeah, we're gonna vote.
this is gonna be the going forward, you know, September thing or something. I think that would be great.
Cool. And I think this is something that, and when we get new members, we can hand it over. And
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
people will be able to see very quickly what we're
Yeah.
doing here and when.
And I've sort of said this in different words, but I want to reiterate that I think one of the great things about this is you don't have to look at all 90 things at once. And if annual priorities and budget is happening in May, you're setting your annual priorities, you're looking at the budget, and then there's probably, you know, 3 or 4 of those things that having an annual plan, doing certain annual check-ins that could be brought in. So I think like Gene, I'd like to kind of do my own, you know, like looking back and thinking about what's in what bucket and anything jumps out that I feel like isn't yet kind of placed somewhere, but I think it's a great.
I see
Great-
management
great
committee
outline.
written at the top, so I've already.
Ha.
Way back first there.
Oops. Well, there's, so you don't say it anyway. No, good job. This, I mean, this is really kind of struggle with getting to something, so I appreciate.
Yeah,
you
I like
jumping
that.
in on it.
So does everybody have access to the Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheet?
Do you want to send that around to the group?
Yes.
That's you know, that's not sharing of documents, basic administration.
Okay.
Yeah, I just realized I couldn't print it, so you know, I like to print things.
I took your Excel document and I switched it a tiny bit so it would print left by 17, so it showed.
Yes. Now if I Excel, I can print it. Yeah, that would be great.
I like the color code.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to color code Gantt charts like based on the year, like if it's like multi-year, I would change the color. You gotta, reviewers don't read proposals. You gotta like, you make it like. Yeah, exactly. Like no one's reading the text.
Drew, we didn't talk about this little gem of it.
Oh, I thought I
Yeah,
loved
you got
that.
that one.
Yeah. This is just a distillation of.
Yeah, but it's so easy.
Yeah. No. It's written down.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, so take it apart. See if mine says it. So, future business.
Kind of it.
Yeah, so the next two things on the agenda were I put an open one just for kind of setting some upcoming priorities, just kind of like what do you want. But the first one is, so we've got 2028 is the year for the community forest plan update. So it doesn't mean it has to be January 1, 2028, but that's the year that the plan should be finished and approved by the select board. So it's 2026 now. So there's no rush, but now is kind of the time to start thinking about the process. And the first piece that I wanted the group to think about is, what do you envision for public engagement? I think especially with a place like, anytime there's a management plan update, it can be useful to reach out to the public, especially with Catamount being Catamount. It's the flagship Crown Forest. It has the Catamount Outdoor Family Center, high volume of people coming. It's a place where public input, I think, would be particularly valuable in helping you assess whether you want to continue certain goals or objectives and how that continue with planning for next time. So I want to just kind of put it to a bit of an open discussion here for whether you thought that you wanted a public engagement process, and if so, what do you think that would look like? And you don't have to decide on anything now. You keep doing this conversation background and everybody's in the room, but if you can provide some direction of a bit of like a wish list or something you think can work, then I can start working on kind of early steps for how we implement that when we implement that.
Yes, I think public engagement should happen, and we should think as a committee about like what level we want, like if you look at like public land management, like engagement strategies, there's like right, like we're just one way flow of information. And the way to like it's collaborative and grassroots and so like what along that spectrum are we interested in? I feel like that would be a really good conversation to have. And like, what is our goal? Is our goal public engagement, education about our decision making, or is it like we want to hear from the public about what they want and then we're going to try to fulfill those needs? Those are really different goals, and I think being transparent about why we're having public engagement can be really important, right? Like I've seen the Forest Service do a lot of engagement and then like do what they were going to do all along, and people get really angry.
Yeah.
So I think like we should figure out like what's our goal, and then like what strategy matches that goal, and then how can we make sure we're super transparent about both of those things.
Well, I'm going to admit that I get all the documents mixed up and I can't remember exactly which one we're updating, but this is the one you guys wrote, right?
Yeah.
You went all right,
Yeah.
right? So, and
Which it took a long time because we had a lot of them.
I don't think you're going to have a lot of.
I got
It's-
over 100 emails about dogs alone.
Yeah, well, dogs might be an issue.
I still have all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I just, I was like, I was going over to the YMCA listening session that they had, which has gotten like so much publicity. There were 5 of us there. We did
Yeah.
for the while. So I think, I don't know, might be my subset of people, but unless you're a user of the Outdoor Family Center, I don't think there's a lot of people who are going to be like, yes, I'm going to go to spend Saturday in a room discussing the forest management plan.
There's different ways that you can engage, right? So
Yeah.
there's face to face, but you can also put out a Survey Monkey,
Yeah, exactly.
private
Is
forum.
that- What are we reaching? Is that, I guess maybe.
Well, who wants to
What's
respond?
the point of it? If you want to reach out and say like, here's our plan, I know it's coming up on 10 years old, but it's really only 5 years. No, it's been, I forget when we actually took over the forest, but it's.
2018. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
I think
I was pregnant.
what I would do is kind of put the plan to a test through questions, specific questions to the public through a survey saying, we sought out to do X, Y, and Z. How did it go? Do you have any recommendations for the future?
I think the other strategy is for us to be like, what realistically might we change, right? And then target the asks around that.
Yeah.
And like, so this,
Which
something
is
I've,
kind of what you said about being more targeted. I wouldn't say like, here's the plan, tell us
Yeah.
what you like, but.
I don't even know, I guess like we can talk about this, but I'm like even hesitant to be like, here's our goals, do we meet them? Because like, I think there's some things that people might say like, no, you didn't, and the way I'd like to see you meet it is, and then like an unreasonable thing that couldn't possibly happen. And I think a thing that leaves people feeling bad is when they're given a voice and then nothing, it falls on deaf ears, like no one takes any action. And that I think we should avoid.
I'm just maybe I'm being sensitive to getting beat up on several fronts about convenience surveys. So.
Oh, yes,
Unreliable they are, so.
They are.
When you just send out something and say like, please tell me what you think.
Yes, because you have no idea how many people received it, and so you cannot compute a response rate or representativeness, and it is.
Or is it just a whole bunch of people moms who have kids that decided they were gonna flood the survey with one of them?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the alternative, or you're saying,
like a probability sample,
Yeah.
where
where
you
contact a subset.
identify like the group of people that you want, and you randomly select 30% of those people, and then you do to participate, and then not really feasible for.
Not feasible for this, because if you find out the
Right.
people who would take the time in a random, it could be a survey, and
Right.
finally find 100 people who'd survey it, so.
Yeah.
I think survey research, this is a whole other conversation, but survey research is gonna die in a slow death. Like I had a
Yeah.
survey hacked by a bot farm.
Oh.
And I had to throw out like a lot of responses. Yeah, and the way we figured it out was we were like, these are weird responses, and we wrote an AI bot to like narc on itself. Like, can you detect bots in the survey? And it was like, yes, here are bursts from all the same IP addresses.
Bummer, yeah.
Super bummer, yeah.
But we should we clearly have to have input. I like him, especially my point about how long it's been active is like,
It's really
it
not that
seems like
long.
just,
Mm-hmm.
we should be looking at it and saying what needs to be corrected.
Yeah, well, I think the other way, if a survey feels like it's gonna be a whole big thing and, may not be that useful, may not be that representative, you could also do a public listening session.
Right.
And just, that's what we're blasting out in advertising. It's like, come to the public listening session, tell us what you love about Catamount, tell us, your hopes and dreams, and we're just there to listen. We're not making any promises. We're going into this phase of updating the plan.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you.
I think, the challenge is, I don't know that the public necessarily understand the difference between the outdoor filming center
Right,
and what we do.
exactly.
So you're probably gonna get a lot of people coming in saying something about the race. Yeah,
It's another good reason to do it as like a public listening session, because there could be like a short presentation at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you can have a conversation with someone that says like, well, what we really need is a push boosting.
Yeah, yes.
And you could have the opportunity to,
There
work
was a
on-
lot where they sold like clear popsicles,
Yeah.
like ice cream pops in the hub.
Really?
Yes, it was awesome.
Well, they have in their, they have a discretionary permit from the town, which they got 2 years ago, that just sort of puts a town permit on everything they're doing. And they do have a food truck included.
This was like a long time ago.
Oh, this is
before
different, right.
this was like the Jim and Lucy era, and I think it was just like in the cooler and
Yeah.
$1 or something.
That's
But it was great because you like finish racing and eat
Yeah.
it. Strawberry clear.
Yeah.
A bunch of red dye.
Put that one of our goals, bring back the strawberry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, or like strawberry shortcake,
Yeah.
whatever the like.
So I'm liking this idea, especially from what you were saying about doing a public listening session, because I like the idea of being able to put together a presentation to the community. This is the journey that Catamount's been on the last 10 years. These are the challenges that came up. These are some things that happened. These are some things we're excited about. These are accomplishments, and here's where we need to go. And then getting some feedback.
Yeah.
and we do have specific stakeholders, right?
Yeah.
We could invite the,
Yeah.
like Terry's got all sorts of groups, and
Mm-hmm.
Tony D'Amato's got his thing, and all these
Mhm.
people can certainly, we can specifically request their input. So it's really
agree.
Another thing that we could do is like try to prioritize the issues that were like, we didn't really have time to resolve these, and so we put a pin in them. So like the dog walking, the hunting, like those were like, we could imagine these happening in the future if there was like a great way to do it, but we have run out of time and don't have a great way to satisfy everybody. I don't know that like we're gonna find a great way, but it's just an idea.
I was thinking a little bit about that too, because, Hans raised the question of, hunting.
Yeah.
2 meetings ago, and so the committee had a little bit of a question, but no matter what the committee debates and decides, that's the kind of question that fundamentally
Yeah.
is, the answer is gonna be, in a large part, based on what the community response is.
Yeah, and both of those 100% were last time, like neighbors didn't feel safe, and so we as the committee were like, well, we're not gonna allow it when people, we haven't like resolved the safety thing, and it was the same thing with dogs, where people were like, worried, there's so many kids there's people racing at high speed, like, how is there gonna be, even if you disallow them during certain times, someone is gonna be confused, how are you gonna address the safety issue? And I think in both of those cases, it was like, and then because we couldn't address the safety issue, didn't have them in there. But and the dog thing, I sort of feel like we have a lot of other places in town where you can walk your dog, and it's total right. But the hunting thing is like forest management at this point because of the deer browse, and so that one, I don't know. In some ways, I don't know how we would resolve the safety things now that they're the same issues that were there 10 years ago, but maybe it's worth us talking about.
We don't need to go there because that time I came in with session. So they just rehashing.
Oh, the working group?
Yeah. You don't, I mean, if it's not.
I think most of the forest is in the no discharge.
Yes,
You have to
okay.
be bow and muzzle.
Yes, what happened, Noel Dodge is, Vermont Fish and Wildlife's chief, I'm trying to remember what his position was, because that actually changed. But one of his roles is that he's the applicant reviewer for the criteria that includes deer range. So he was out at, Catamount last year for site visit to look at vernal pools and deer ranching areas, because those are the two, I forget how they're specific, significant
Wildlife
habitats, is how they define it.
that we happen to have shows already going through.
Yeah, and so he put together a comment letter, and one of the comments was for Catamount to consider seasonal trail closures, which John is not in favor of. And to consider.
Wait, to allow for hunting? Or
No,
just like the deer?
Just, okay.
Which we think we have to do.
And then the other comment was, well, there was several comments, but another comment was, to not allow dogs. And that was easy. Dogs are not allowed.
Yeah.
So that was what's.
I think the like rub in there is like, if you have recreationists in the deer ranching, their time when they're bedding down, there's some don't survive the winter, and that's a cool way to die. Whereas if you're hunting them, you're culling probably the population, at least for that's really that's what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, Noah did make comments like that. The evidence and presence of deer, the sign that indicates that they are wintering, appears to show that they're comfortable bedding down, not very far.
Oh yeah.
So
there's deer beds, like,
yeah.
do you know a deer actually like walked in front of me going on last night? It was like, yeah.
Oh.
Like mid-race. Like, what
Nice.
did you do? He was like, oh, you deer.
Great for the deer.
So maybe they are very
Yeah, yeah, kind of habituated to it. That was at least what Noel alluded to. So we kind of just see how that shakes out in kind of the F-250 permit review. Yeah. But in terms of hunting management, the permit process one.
I think it would be difficult to imagine the neighbors being okay with hunting that, just given the houses and them, but maybe it's different.
But sort of on the broader comment, like maybe one of the things, besides public engagement, it would be really interesting things that the people who wrote the original one could get together and say, here's the things we remember we left open.
Yeah,
And I would just like, not that we have to look at all of them
Yeah.
again, it may be like they've resolved themselves, or it's been 10 years and it's not an issue, so why should we
Yeah.
mess with it, you know, but
Yeah.
it would be interesting to have like a recommendation from the people who wrote it
Right.
the first time to say like, here's some things that,
I think we did actually put like the things that, I mean, that we could do that, and a lot of folks are still in town. Like I saw Ben Norris recently.
agree.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But I also think we wrote language that was like, we can't figure this out at this time, but if there's, like, I know we did this for the dogs, like, if at such a time,
Horses.
yeah, somebody, horses is another one, comes forward with like, our concerns are safety, and if someone could present a proposal that resolved the issue that we see to the select board, we don't see any reason to like not include it, we just haven't, like, we're at 18 months and.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
think,
hunting was on it too.
I think it was like dogs, horses, hunting, and I can't, maybe ice skating. Like maybe somebody had wanted to like skate and we were like, I don't know about that pond.
The plan definitely. First plan. I'm pretty sure it says skating at your own.
So if we start from that-ish, and we have public engagement, listening session kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe even two of them, one with the one before, one with a draft.
Yeah.
And, you know, what else am I at?
Patrice Maloney, who owns the River Hill Farm at the bottom of the road, committee, and was very involved and really wanted to see horseback riding integrated, and I feel like that we just ran out of time for, and like that one in my memory, it was like we couldn't figure out like one, safety, and then two, like trailers in the parking lot, like big heavy trailers in the parking lot.
But see, but that's a situation where it might be that they come back asking. I mean, there are certain things that we could say, why, we shouldn't just like take all the controversial things and start all over.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Come on, it hasn't become an issue, let's not.
Yeah, but actually snowmobiling was one because Bass used to go through Catamount like back in the day and then doesn't anymore, but I don't know that.
But they probably resolved too, they probably found another path.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think they've rerouted through Patrice's.
So it could be that you guys come back and say like, here's the things we left open, and
Right.
maybe that's where they stay.
Yeah.
Your dogs are.
Dogs come with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really, is there any other like group we should, maybe our county forester should, you know, should we ask him specifically to look at it? That kind of stuff, you know, like professionals or, yeah, like he's right, that should be sort of on our list. I don't know if there's other.
So I guess like the thing that I think about all the time, and this is just like, I don't know that we need to go here, but I am always like, I wish the school was more integrated into, like, I wish the school, like, you could walk from WCS. I don't know, our kids had walking field trips every Wednesday in Canada, and I was like, no, they walk really far.
We'll just, that'll be a new product, this moving escalator.
Yeah.
That's a good chunk of my life is getting a sidewalk along North Williston.
We so appreciate
The sidewalk.
Interesting idea. You were were saying, you know, the different benefits, you could identify the wish list of members,
Mhm.
you know,
Give us ideas.
yeah, somebody from the other
That's
towns,
true.
other, yeah, forester, somebody from the town, other kind of external stakeholders that aren't, are not stakeholders, people who are not involved with town, but may have expertise or a lens that could be beneficial.
I have a PhD
Somebody
student
say-
who was a rec manager for the state.
Can be
of
audible.
Washington.
Sorry.
I have a current PhD student who was like a rec, he's a licensed forester, and she was a rec specialist for the state for a while, like, not, you know.
Yeah, that's the interesting idea.
I think her position didn't get filled when she left, but. There's definitely other.
Sit down in January and read through the
Yeah.
plan, right? And
Yeah.
see if it's anything that,
Or like PhD students and postdocs who are looking for academic jobs in service, it's like nice to put that on your CV.
wow, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do some brand deals. We don't necessarily have to drag this out. My summary of the conversation today on public engagement is maybe you don't want to do a survey. That's what it sounds like. And a public engagement, public listening session slash, or one or two, sounds like it might be a better way to kind of serve the needs. The first one could involve presentation. In that you could identify that there are some areas that would be helpful to hear from, but it also be an opportunity from. And you could follow it up with the second.
I mean, if something we because we advertising the listening session, we could also offer people what can't attend. Feel free to email us.
Right, exactly. So it's not.
Or
quite
you have the
survey,
first 10
it's an
minutes of our meeting, you can open it up. But
I do think surveys are hard in this moment, even if you don't get a convenient sample, response rates are so low, that it's like people just don't want to fill out formal surveys, but they will take the time to rate on like,
I mean, the reps that were rep plan, they worked really hard at that in public outreach, and the numbers were like 7 people showed up this committee, and it was like because the survey, 2% noticed and responded, and it's like,
it's not normal.
It's like a couple hundred.
It's
No,
a
but it's-
universal problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, your 30 is the gold standard for people to go. Actually, like, have confidence that you've read
30%.
30%.
yeah, not 2%.
Yeah, to be like, yeah, we have representation of the population. And it's like almost impossible. So people have started doing this like buying panel surveys, and like that's a problem because it's not a random sample. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like the people who are interested in like getting an online gaming kit and working for a gift card in exchange for
Yeah, and it's, I mean, let's face it, this is a pretty limited
Yeah.
specialty area of people within town who value that forest and would be interested, not just because the kids are riding their one side of the road, because they really want to engage in the forest part of it, so I think that. I think our rough start.
Great. So next thing is just, the last thing is really just taking a few minutes to think about what are the upcoming priorities. What would you like to see on the agenda? Agendas coming up or conversations that you can help us have, and we'll certainly could start kind of transitioning or experimenting with this.
Yeah.
Soon rather than later, but,
I just realized there's no July.
July off.
July. That's right. Fine.
It clearly works for half this committee.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to travel this month and I'm like miraculously, I think, not missing a meeting for either.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Now that I said that, I'll probably be like, oh, actually. I do think like talking about ecological monitoring would be
a good thing.
a cool thing to do because we do have stuff happening out there, but I also think we did make a commitment for some other things that maybe haven't done.
Okay, well, it's on
Yeah.
the list for
On
August.
August, yeah.
That's-
And then the other thing that I would just love, like, the trail plan, their trail plan, I think needs to be integrated into our course. Like, zero teams trail plan. And so like, at some point in the future, we should have a conversation about how to do that. Right, like how to make, like I keep thinking like, oh, they're gonna build trail, that involves cutting trees. We're doing forest stewardship that sometimes involves cutting trees. How do you make those things synergistic and not like separate or worst case in conflict with each
Yeah.
other or undoing each other's work? And I haven't thought through how to do that well, other than to say like, oh, I can see it going both ways, where we're like, that worked out really well, or
Mhm.
like, oh dang, they just did this and now we're ruining it.
Okay, yeah. A couple of conversations that I know that will be coming in the pipeline is, at the last working group meeting, we had kind of an interesting conversation. After I brought up the conversation about signs and just working together on really kind of trying to, from both angles, solve the challenge of awareness. We're 8 years down the line, the community still doesn't have a clear picture of what's happening. So we know from the family center's perspective that, well, some people come and they feel entitled to use the trails, even though we, want them to pay for using that road. And on our side, it's like, well, people don't know that they can go walk for free. And so both of those problems are part of the same issue, which is just that we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So after that conversation, they came back and they said, we would actually love to get signings. And
Is that community forest? Is that like a grant requirement though?
I don't know. So Gene and I both said, we thought that was
Catamount.
a thing. And they said, we thought that was a town thing.
I think it's in Forest Service.
Do you think it might be?
Because they've
grant
never reported
stipulation?
it. He said they've never been asked for the data, they've never reported any.
They did share the data with me after that meeting, so I can share that. But,
I might be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's my I mean, it's been a minute. But I feel like it might be in there with the like, you shall not deforest more than 75% and you shall have it open. But it might be like, you have to know roughly how many people are going and not like, you must have a sign.
right, like who people would show.
Well, I just.
Oh, I just bought- I just bought trail counters.
What? They're available again?
Yeah, well, I had to pay the tariff.
Oh,
Ooh,
But now I have 3, like one system, 3 counters. So it's not like I couldn't do all of their entry points, but
okay. That's, yeah, we could revisit that conversation. I know they were saying, I think that they might have got some too. Or they wanted to get them.
well,
So
you can order them again. Now you
Okay.
just have to pay the tariff.
That's good.
we can talk about that sort of, even sharing that with the other
Yeah.
trails in town, right?
I mean, I didn't personally buy them. Parks right and forth. But it would be easy for like,
So- Yeah, well, I can look into the Forest Service thing and check on that.
maybe I'm wrong.
But that, we can cue that up for
Yeah.
next time, I think, be thinking about that. And revisiting that conversation specifically from the angle of, is having sign-ins still serving any purpose? If we can get rid of that, would that be something helpful for making Catamount feel more welcome? So that's,
Just have in the back of your head that it's not, well,
it's difficult to enforce.
it's not
yeah,
enforced,
the-
and not a lot of people are doing it. So
Right.
it's
I don't
like,
think anyone's.
Rate of
saying that ever.
compliance is low.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Universally
there's vague, but
But I mean, I would love to say like, yes, I would love to see who's here, how many people, and what town they're from. That would be awesome. but
Right.
Not if only every 12th person is, thinking about that.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen them sign.
Scan the QR code.
well, it's online, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation I'm coming down the pipeline. The other conversations are related to the building project, so.
Yeah.
At some point, we will come back to the conversation about permit, cost sharing. After John's kind of tallied up what that cost for wetlands delineation, the archaeology for paying permit fees, and we can talk about, that. And then also the building use plan, and that's a little more finalized, but in the meantime, those conversations we're kind of checking them through the working group, which is, we took a break, because that was in July, but that'll continue to proceed at.
Keep moving along.
Active is moving along, they sent out provisional permit, I haven't read it yet, there's 4 things that they need to get, that they need to hear from, they need sort of stamp approval from the state historical division. Archaeology, people, stuff. So they need to sign up, it shouldn't be an issue, because we selected many trails that weren't in archaeological sensibility. Then they need to sign up in each of the natural resources. And potentially the geological comment could come into play there, so we'll see. And they have one requirement, but that's moving along, it's a good step forward. Part of moving that along was we made the decision with consultation from the district acquisition coordinator to break the master plan project into small chunks. One of which basically permitted immediately because it's
Wait,
trails.
didn't they create the master plan because someone told them that they had to stop doing that chunk?
Is, yes, and there was some misunderstanding and confusion. So there was a request from wetlands program to have a master plan. But then there was an assumption that meant that every state review program would be master plan. And then the additional confusion there was that Act 250 has a category of application called master plan. And so we thought that is what we needed. But an Act 250 master plan is really meant for like, large development projects that are maybe happening in phases. And they're there so that you send in the master plan, Act 250 looks at the whole thing and they say, okay, well, we can check off these 6 boxes, and then you're going to come back to us with a regular Act 250 application for minor amendments for these criteria for each of your additional phases. But one, you pay extra for that. Second thing being, when you apply for master plans, automatically it's considered a major Act 250 application, which requires a hearing, extra process, it takes longer, and then you still have to submit for a minor amendment for all of the individual projects. So it actually there would have been essentially no reason for us to do it, it just would have doubled the review time, cost more, and not really gotten us anything, because at the end of the day, we're still gonna need archaeology department signed up at every step of the way, so. We had to work through those confusions, but we got there.
Yeah.
We're back in looking at doing this in essentially 3 chunks. The first chunk was things that don't need archaeological review and have already been permitted for wetlands. The second chunk will be the things that archaeology has signed up for the first initial look at it, and that also don't need wetlands review. And the third chunk will be the portion that needs 1 more wetland area delineated and 1 more archaeological. So we should be able to have those first two big buckets. One of them done this summer, which will mean Catamount can move forward and start work, and they can use their grant, which is great.
Yeah.
The second one, we can probably get in this fall, and then next summer, we can work with them to help them get their building mission done. So, yeah, big progress. Very solid.
I think they're not a fan of requirement. I'm
Okay.
like kind of skimming the website as you should double check because I'm half skimming while
Okay,
But- I think I made that up.
it kind of seemed in the meeting like it was one of those things where the decision was made 8 years ago, and in the meantime, everyone just thought it's the other person who
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
thought that this was important to keep going.
I have this vague memory of us being like, we have to do it. That's why I thought it was like in the grant requirement.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, I'll dig into that a little bit. I thought, and I think Gene thought the same thing, that it was something that Catamount was really adamant about because it helps them keep track of people for paying and using the trail.
Maybe Kim Stinson felt that way, like the previous CD.
Yeah. But that might have just been assumption.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
There are definitely other ways that we can get better numbers.
And maybe accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, that's a couple of things to put on the list, so Drew, we can talk about agenda for August. But that's everything that on the agenda.
Any other comments,
Works for me.
suggestions?
Nice
Motion to
to see-
adjourn?
Nice to see Kim in person.
We just make sure that, no, I was trying to remember it, so we got such.
Motion to
Right.
adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Early, 2
Uh,
minutes early.
Well done.
Thank you.